Well, hello everyone, and welcome to our devotional piece on deep dishes. Today we decided to hang out in nature, out on the grass, laid out on a blanket, cars passing by, people playing ball, all around fun. But every day is not fun, and every day is not giggles. We have tough days. But how do we have godly character in those tough days? If you're dealing with a situation when it gets tough, but yet you want to keep godly character, why don't you come hang out with us tonight on Deep Dishes as we talk about it? See you in a bit.
What's up? It's dinner time on Deep Dishes, and guess who's in the kitchen? Daddy. And I'm making my homemade spaghetti. I like to call it Daddy Get It. Let's get to it. First thing I did, I got a pound of ground chuck from the local market. I put a little olive oil in, put my ground beef in, and I got that going, all right? Now let's get to this spaghetti sauce. First thing you want to do is dice up 2/3 cup of green peppers, 2/3 cups of red onions, 2/3 cup of portobello mushrooms. Put that inside this pot, and you gotta add some olive oil, okay? And you're gonna saute those vegetables to a beautiful brown. All right, and now we're gonna add our sauces. You have a 28-ounce can of crushed tomatoes. We have a jar of Parmesan spaghetti sauce, and we also have a 15-ounce can of petite diced tomatoes, and you want to drain the water off of that, okay? Now let's get down to the seasonings. We moving here. We have 3 tablespoons of grated Parmesan cheese. We have 2 teaspoons of Italian seasoning. We have 2 teaspoons of salt, but this is the deal with the salt. You want to put half of that salt in your spaghetti right here, and then half of that salt on the ground beef, okay? This is my secret ingredient. A half tablespoon of sugar. It just makes it a little sweet, and it makes it beautiful to the taste, all right? And we have a teaspoon of onion powder, and we have 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, all right? And we're just gonna add that pepper to the ground beef just to taste, all right? And the key with your noodles, make sure with those noodles, you get your water going, and you want to add olive oil to that water and a little salt. And when you drain that water off, you're going to put a little bit more olive oil in it, because back in the day, my noodles was all stuck together. And then when I got married, my wife gave me wisdom. She was like, no, put the olive oil in the water and in the getty after you, in the noodles after you drain the water off, put more olive oil in, and it has it loose and ready to dine and eat, okay? So that's Daddy Get It here on Deep Dishes, and we'll be back in just a moment, all right? And we're back, and guess what? Daddy Get It is ready. But I forgot a really important ingredient. Spaghetti sauce mix. Make sure you add spaghetti sauce mix in the getty, okay? So I got my noodles, and let that spaghetti just cook it on low for maybe about 15 minutes. Look at that, look at that, look at there. Look at there, look at there, look at there. All right, y'all. On Deep Dishes, this is Daddy Get It. Bon appetit.
All right, I have a question for y'all, and I want everybody to just Be honest. Is it hard to treat people with gentleness and kindness when they are being rude to you or mistreating you?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm just being honest. Yeah.
Yeah. Why?
Because when someone's being rude to you, I think it's just naturally you're offended, your feelings are hurt, and you want to get back at them. I know that's not right, but it's very challenging because somebody's going off on you. You want to go back off on them.
What about you, Kenya?
Don't like the disrespect. I really don't like when people disrespect me. I feel like that's just so messed up. It just makes me not. I just don't want to talk to the person. Period. Like kind words or mean words. I just want to shut them out, which I guess isn't always the best thing to do.
You presently dealing with some stuff. You dealing with that right now.
I do not like disrespect. Like somebody disrespect me, like if somebody disrespect me, I want to like get back at them, but like I can't because I just can't.
I agree. It is hard, especially when people are rude and they mistreat you. It could be a lot of reasons why this is happening, and it's always hard to look at the good. Well, it's never good, but it's hard to think why this person may be mistreating you because you're hurt and you're trying to think, well, did I do something? But sometimes it's not up for you to figure out. I want to read something to you all coming out of Romans 12 and reading verses 9 through really 18. And if I, move fast enough, I can get to 21 and get to my point. It says, love must be sincere. Hate what is evil, cling to what is good, kind of like the song. Be devoted to one another in brotherly love. Honor one another above yourselves. Never be lacking in zeal, but keep your spiritual fervor, serving the Lord. Be joyful in hope, patient in afflictions, faithful in prayer. Share with God's people who are in need. Practice hospitality. Bless those who persecute you. Bless and do not curse. Rejoice with those who rejoice, mourn with those who mourn. Live in harmony with one another. And do not be proud, but be willing to associate with people of low position. Do not be conceited. Now, these few verses here are basically talking about the character of a believer, of a Christian, the ways that we should treat each other, treat one another. But it also deals with how we should treat our enemies. Let's look down to verse 17 where it says, do not repay anyone evil for evil. Be careful to do what is right in the eyes of everybody. If it is possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. That part of, as much as it has to do with you, try to, do good and live at peace with everyone. And it's in our nature that when someone says something rude to you, we want to, defend ourselves, right?
Right.
It's easy to want to defend when someone is hurting you, or we have to prove the point that we are not a pushover. And, sometimes in life we have to start our day differently, and we have to start by what we're thinking about, what we're putting in our minds before we start our day. Sometimes we just hop up and just get going, but we really need to start our day making a decision. Today, I'm going to decide to handle situations differently. Today, I'm going to decide that I am not going to respond or react the same way a person responds and react to me. Why? Because a lot of times people want that. If someone is really trying to attack you or coming at you, they are really looking for you to respond in defense. But if you respond in a different way, it's not easy, but it's a day by day, situation by situation. Try responding in the opposite. If your mind is telling you to attack and defend myself, try to think differently in that situation. Calm yourself before you speak. Think before you speak and say, you know what? I'm not going to give you what you're looking for. I'm not going to give you what you're putting out. I'm going to give you something different. I'm going to walk in love even though you're walking in hatred.
Yeah.
Even when you're being mean, I'm going to be kind. Because you know what happens? Two people who are walking in evil, they're going to keep clashing. And the saga is going to just keep going. But when one is walking in the ways of evil and the other person is not, it's like you really don't have a battle going on there, because who are you going to battle with if you're doing the opposite? I mean, that's just what I'm thinking.
I think it's really important to do that. I mean, honestly, like, my job is kind of like a high stress job, and like, I don't know, it was just this one point when I realized where I was mad before I even got to work. I was like, you know what? And I was like, whoa, like, I need to re-channel like my mind. I started reading this one book, and it was so powerful how, like, at the end of the day, not saying that you choose your day, but you can choose your mindset. Like, when someone says something slick to you, I look at them and I'd be like, okay. I let you know. I just give them a look. I'd be like, all right. And I just keep going about my business. And I did that to one of my coworkers. That person just like slick went off with me, and I just looked at them. I was like, oh, all right. I mean, whatever. I just kept doing my thing. And later on that day, they came back and they were like, you know what? I wasn't right. I was just upset. It wasn't even you. They were having problems going on at home, and it just so happened that they went off on me.
Right.
And so it's kind of like, what we don't realize is that a lot of times we treat people like mirrors. You know what I mean? And so I'm speaking to you, but I'm really speaking to my situations and myself. So
That's
you really
good.
have to make sure that what you pour into people is love, so you can kind of rebound that back. So like, because when you just keep spewing hate, and I remember I was just like, bruh, I'm tired of this, I'm tired of that, da 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 da. And it's like, I used to be upset, I used to not feel good at work, but then like I started making it a habit to wake up earlier, meditate, yoga, read my Bible, do all that stuff. And so when I go to work, like, I try, when people are getting antsy and stuff, I'm like, hey, let's calm down. Like, this is just whatever, this is just coffee, you know, it's not that big of a deal. And like, when I tell you, it's starting to change the atmosphere that I'm in. And that's so important. So like, try to change the atmosphere by being that positive light. Because if you just got a whole bunch of darkness and you being dark,
Right. I mean,
well, I still can't see. I still can't see. Turn on that light, bro.
look, Kenya. Oh, sorry, that was lame. But go ahead. Forget it.
Yep.
Pass the mic.
I'm sorry, I passed the mic. Go ahead, Brian.
How about
Yeah.
Zion? What's your thoughts?
Do you think that it's important to not fight fire with fire?
She knows she's dealing with that right now, so that's why you're laughing.
I'm trying. Guys, let's just say that you should not fight fire to fire. It's not worth it. It's not worth your time to do that. Especially, can I say if we're at school? Like, I'm not, like, if we're like at school, like, you just focus on your education. Don't worry about what other people say about you. Just be like, okay, cool. Like, if somebody say something slick like he said about you, just be like, okay, cool, and just move on, and just like try to get your education up. Stop worrying what other people got to say about you. Just move on and just keep walking.
Wait, you know what that reminds me of? Okay, so I don't know if y'all seen Kung Fu Panda. I think it was 2. And that dude, he was literally throwing like fire iron balls at him. He was like, whoosh. And then like Po was just so, he was laughing. He was like, oh my gosh, that feels so funny. So it was like just bouncing off him. And it was like he was throwing so much hate at Po. And it just like all the like, like all those like metal
That was
supposed
the
to be
first Kung
bombs.
Fu Panda.
That was the first one?
That was the first one.
Okay, well, I don't know which one it was.
Yeah, and he
That
was
not the
laughing
first
while
one.
the guy was hitting him.
Yeah.
You know, he was laughing.
And it made him so mad.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Is his name Shane? But anyway, not to get off the subject. Yeah.
No,
go-
I mean
your
that was
point.
just like an illustration, and like at the end, like when he was like, "Bruh, like this doesn't even like these words mean nothing when you don't let them." You know what I mean? And
Right.
and it was so powerful because then he took the ball, he took it in his hand. He was like, "Bro, this junk spin in my hand." He literally like ended that whole war based off of someone's hate. So he took someone's hate, turned it into love, and pushed it out. Where that dude, I don't know if he died or not,
He
but
did.
Yeah,
No,
did.
he didn't.
He got blown up. Remember, he had the thing when he dropped the pinky, the whooshy, whatever.
now that, okay, how you go from,
You mixing
let's just,
one and two.
okay.
But the point is, going back to the point, yes. Now, one thing we do have to understand that this is not easy. I'm gonna be honest. I can be very feisty. My mouth can be very tight when somebody cross me the wrong way.
sauce.
I get it. Yes, and I'm not proud of that because it's nothing to be proud of. But I really have to decide in my mind because the mind is a powerful
Amen.
you know
Yes, it
thing.
is.
It's powerful, and when we make decisions in our mind, what we think, it comes to it comes into fruition because that's what we're practicing. And we must talk to ourselves, when that rage is, coming up and it's growing up inside of us. We need to talk and speak, calm down, speak to ourselves and say, not today. It's a decision. And I got to work on this. I'm telling you, this is something that I wrestle with because, it's hard. But it's a decision, to decide and say, I want to walk in peace. And we have to practice it. It's a day by day, second by second, really, situation by situation. That we have to make sure, because what happens is that, where the mind goes, the body will follow. You know what I mean? So first you have a thought, and then that thought, it embeds in our heart because we're thinking on it, we're meditating on it, and then what's in our hearts become our actions. So it starts here, goes here, and it moves this way.
One piece you forgot though, it starts in thought.
Yep.
Heart, you speak.
Yeah, that's true. Speak, yeah.
And then actions follow.
Right.
Okay. So a man thinketh in his heart, so is he.
Yeah.
And another point I want to bring up too is that when you're dealing with people that are really coming at you in a very negative way, a lot of negative energy, we have to show compassion. What helps me is when they're coming at me the wrong way, you have to think, what is that person dealing with?
Exactly. That was a story.
It's always a story behind anger. It's always a story behind frustration. And love will defeat, positive will defeat negative every time. The positive will defeat it. But we have to it's a choice to walk in that positive mindset, in that moment to walk in love. And it's very challenging. And I think the greatest example is Jesus Christ. How he was praying for people. He was praying for these very people that were sitting there, doing all type of heinous stuff to him. But yet he was praying for them. And love, that seed of love that was planted, we're here today talking about Jesus over 2,000 years ago because he planted love and it defeated evil. So have compassion.
I agree. We definitely need, and it goes back to what you're saying too, it's that mirror. Really, a lot of times when people are coming at you, they're really coming at themselves. They're coming at the pain that's within. And sometimes people can just be being mean.
Yeah,
It
some
is
folks
just
mean.
evil and people are just wicked and mean,
Yeah.
but you don't respond that way. I just want to bring us back centered to the verse in 18. If it is possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. And if we jump down to chapter 12, verse 21, it says, do not be overcome by evil, but overcome evil with good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I loved about Senator John McCain. I was reading up on his position. Of course, he was had a right perspective, Republican, but he was so respectful of those across the aisle. And he was like, look, because we disagree, his mindset was, because we disagree, we don't have to be disrespectful.
Right.
You know, because sometimes we're just going to disagree. But because we disagree, we can still love each other.
Yeah.
We can still lift each other up,
Right.
even though we could vehemently disagree with someone. And that was his mantra. And that's what, you know, one thing that I just loved about him is that, you know, regardless of political position, he always respected those across the aisle. And it's important that we do that as well. Because sometimes, you know, not if someone's just treating us mean, this is kind of just another angle. Sometimes we could just be in debate or just really disagree with someone, and you so frustrated where you get angry with the person just because you all disagree.
Yeah.
And that can turn into a fight as well. But we have to respect people's position. You disagree, hey, but we can still walk in love with each other.
We can walk in love, and just always remember, it's the situation by situation, case by case. Every situation is different, but if you can possibly make a decision to decide to walk in love when someone is mistreating you. Now, if it's a situation where it's unsafe, then you do need to get into a safe place. But if you know that people are mistreating you, don't respond the same way. Make an effort. You can't do it on your own, like Kenya said earlier. It starts with you starting your day off with positivity, allowing your words to be positive. And sometimes you may just need to take a break, cool off, and come back. Because every time you're not going to respond the right way. I get it. I know I don't.
Yeah.
But it's a day by day, situation by situation, case by case. God is with you. He is for you, and he will be right there by your side to help walk with you through these troubled times. We love you here on Deep Dishes, and thank you so much for joining with us tonight. Well, hello everybody, and welcome to the duet part on Deep Dishes. Tonight we're going to sing a song that we wrote, A Good Day. Every day may not be a good day, but we have to decide to make it a good day, and we're going to sing about it. Y'all ready? All right, here we go. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Driving it on the way to work. There's a driver in my rear. He's being a jerk. He's speeding. Driving fast up on me, yeah. So I moved over to my lane to my right. Looked to my left, saw he was rolling his eyes. This is crazy. But I decided in my mind that
obligation. Almost every single day we gotta deal with all the pushes and punches. Where we got a house on the face, no, that's unconscious. Listen, this is really terrible. Don't judge me, it's very cool. You know what? It's very, very black. I'm sorry that my black is so very black.
Okay, goodbye.